So the other aspects of Russia that I wanted to ask about, there's some reporting by Politico about the Chinese providing some drones, I think, and some ballistic armor. Lots of material, but I'm wondering whether to the Russians, as you guys have been warning against it, but I guess you've seen that. Does that amount to what you've been warning them not to do?
A few things about that. Number one, we have focused our sanctions on lethal assistance. We do continue to monitor whether there are additional sanctions that we ought to impose, as well as whether there are companies that are violating our sanctions. I'm not going to comment with respect to the specific report in Politico, because the only information I have is what's contained in the article, which isn't to say I doubt it, but we would obviously have to conduct our own assessment before making any kind of determination about whether an activity was a sanctions violation or whether we needed to impose additional sanctions in response to some activity that we've seen. I will say one of the things that we made clear, that Secretary Blinken made clear to Chinese government officials when we were in Beijing, was that one, we were monitoring the issue closely and would very much oppose any action on the government side, the Chinese government transferring lethal assistance to Russia, and that number two, on the private sector side, it was an issue where we also had serious concerns. We had seen companies providing assistance to Russia in the past and had sanctioned those companies, and that we would continue to monitor it closely and take actions against private Chinese companies when we saw such sanctionable activity.
And from the government perspective, it's still the case that you haven't seen anything that sort of oversteps that line.
That's correct. That's correct.